What's going on, everybody? And welcome to In the Tank Live with Keith Deyo and Aaron Hairston. Wow. I tell you, wow. Already this morning, I'm already feeling some pressure. And it's interesting because that type of pressure is exactly what I called. Right? I called it. I said, hey, listen, come on, bring it on, because I want to get right back into resistance. And this is day one, right? Day one of this next 90-day sprint. And before we get rocking and rolling, I want you to really set some intentional things, right? The first one is that I'm going to play full out. And on this tank right here, I want you guys to really, really ingest what we're going to go through, because this is the point where I'm going to stretch a little bit of your belief factor. We're going to stretch a little bit about what it is that you're focused on nowadays. What up, Nick? And also start to create some new fertile ground for you to go ahead and plant some seeds. So what's going on, Aaron? What's going on, guys? Gina, what's going on? Alan, what's up? Doug, what's up? Christine, what's up? And so as we wait for Keith to get on here, I want you, with one word, go ahead and state what you're thankful for today, okay? Because everything has to start with gratitude. I don't care if, you're getting ready to run a marathon. It has to start with gratitude. If you're going to go ahead and, start a new career, it's got to start with gratitude. If you're going to go ahead and wake up in the morning and start a new day, it's got to start with gratitude. And so how do we go ahead and start our day? Amy, what's going on, girl? Yes, Christine says, this is the first day of the rest of her life. I am ready to fight. And I know how special that is, and I know what that means. We're going to get into that, Christine. We're going to get into that whole fight back and what it means to go for something more than you ever had before. Because I tell you right now, the reason why Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson was because of the fact of his why, right? He was willing to fight because he knew that the reason why he was fighting was much bigger than what was going on in the ring. What's going on, Nick? Yeah, thankful for getting home from Nashville safely. Amen. We got home late last night, but I tell you what, we got some really good New York cooking, and I was excited. We got some traffic. We said, you know what? We're not even going to sit in this traffic. We're going to make the best of this and go get some food. So grateful. Amen. Yes, Christine. Thankful for the fact that God woke you up. Yes, refocus. Amen, Aaron. I mean, it is about readjusting every single day. Amen, Amy. Yes, that's a great word. And as we readjust and we refocus, we have to set on some real strong foundations. Because I tell you what, at least for me, what I'm going to build over the next 90 days and finishing this year is going to be so massive in regards of impact that it's going to have that solid foundation. What's going on, Aaron? Angel, what's going on, Pam? And, Christine talks about she's thankful for the fact that she was able to live a life without fear for one day so far. And that's what it's about. And I'm going to give you some cool action steps too as we move forward after today, because I did something this morning with a good friend of mine, Ronald, that really, really solidified and made everything stick and made everything come together. Because after you set the intentions, you got to have something to revert back to. Because listen, when you start getting into resistance and you don't have an accountability partner, you don't have a spotter, that weight will crush you. And so you must have something to revert you back. And so as we wait for Keith to jump on here, I want to see more of those words. What is it that you're thankful for? One word, one phrase. Gina talks about being thankful for what it's about to happen. Amen. Taking control. And that's important for sure. Making sure that you're being thankful for the actions you're about to take. And for those who didn't hear the question, I'm looking for one word or a phrase that go ahead and create some gratitude for something that you're thankful for, something that you're focused on. And so we can go ahead and create this bucket in this container that's going to hold an amazing message that me and Keith are going to deliver right now. So go ahead, brother. I'm going to go ahead and add Keith on here. All right. Diego, what's up, man? Thankful for his beautiful wife and who has committed to his 90-day game plan with him. And what's going on, Keith? Let's go, baby. We talked, man, listen. This morning was, I'm on my second one. So
that's my second.
yeah, exactly. There was a quota that I already set about 2 days ago, right?
We got bags of them, so.
Bags of them. And so Keith, one of the things that I did this morning is I made a letter to myself. And I asked a few people on our team to do the same thing, because the excitement and the intention that we have set for ourselves over the next 90 days is going to be so strong that there are going to be times where we're going to struggle a little bit, right? We're going to need a reminder of why we're putting so much resistance in our life, and we're seeking that uncertainty. And so this letter contains a very important piece of information that set where I am now, right? And that I can revert back to. And I'm going to be as vulnerable to read it so that everybody can hear my letter to myself. And so what I want to frame this with is has there been a time in your life, anyone that's out there, that you were so excited about an idea, a new career, a new mission, right? A movement, a new relationship, anything of the above. And then when times got rough, you start to see that you start showing up at least half of what it was when you first got excited. See, this happens a lot because, again, when we start getting outside of someone else's comfort zone, right, and the expectations of others, we start to create a new path. And at that path, you start to realize that it's going to take a machete, it's going to take some tools, maybe some strength to get over a big log that's in front of you. But dynamite, right? You got to blow through some walls. And so I want to use a letter because I think at this point we can write to ourselves. We can write to our future selves that's going to be at that pivotal point where an action step's going to need to be taken, or some decisions are going to need to be made, or a call for help is going to be requested. And so I want everybody to think about a time that they're excited, or maybe something they're working on right now. And I want you to write this letter to yourself. And this is a letter that I wrote to myself this morning. I said, "Dear Aaron, today you start the future of your family's legacy. I know life gets hard. It's a test to see how much you've learned along the way. And you know how valuable that can be. You've said it before. You've taught people before. And you've always overcome, and I know you can fight through whatever tough times ahead. You always have overcome the obstacles. Stay focused, Aaron. Don't lose track. Even if the path's not there, you know how to dig a new one. You know how to trench a new one. Also leave breadcrumbs for others to follow so that way they can overcome the obstacles sooner than you did. Reach out to Ronald or a loved one, someone that cares more about you in this time of need than you do right now as you're questioning why you decided this journey. Share with him and that friend how you feel, and ask them, how do you start to reset? Aaron, you have everything you need inside of you to achieve the goals and the priorities this week." And I'm going to pause right there. And I put week because it may be that day that you need to have a short-term goal. And a week is a lot more tangible than a year, 10 years, 20 years, or the future of your grandchildren. So I put that week there to remind myself that it's the short-term goals that collectively add up to the long-term goal. I told myself, stay strong. And remember, Aaron, God loves you and has always have. He'll be by your side through the thick and through the thin, and he'll be there to achieve and celebrate with you. Here's to the next level, Aaron. I love you. And so I want everybody to write a letter to themselves because, again, somebody can speak to you and encourage you to do things, and it's not going to be as much as it means to you as if you said it to yourself. And being able to revert back to that letter and being able to say, you know what, I'm ready to fight back. I'm ready to fight through whatever it is that I've been designed to be, and going ahead and accomplishing those goals and really putting some really high standards for myself. That letter is going to save me to the moment where I start to sink. And it's going to be that lifeline, that life preserver that's going to keep me afloat so that I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Aaron, I love that. And the key to that is we get to remember that we often overestimate what we can do in a day or a week or a month, and we severely underestimate what we can get done in a year, 5 years, and a decade. And so when we set off with these ambitious things, we put a lot of it into a short period of time, thinking that that's going to allow us to get it done. And what happens, we overestimate. And a lot of times it's only so that other people can so that we seem important enough, so that our goal seems important enough for someone else to take attention to us, and even for ourselves to pay attention to us. We think that the bigger it is, the more we're going to do. And it's often not the case.
So many times.
We forget how important the unlocking the heart, like you just did, allowing ourselves to not only speak in gratitude, but live and bathe in it, because that's where the heart gets unlocked. That's the key to unlocking the heart, and that intent coming from a place of love. Like we talk about, Aaron, the teams that we build, we talk about letting love lead. The reason why we let love lead, and the reason why that's so important, and I get goosebumps thinking about it, because I know what we set in motion, however many years ago, and we haven't been in a rush. There were moments in time that we rushed it, but we haven't been in a rush. And what's happening is, as we find people and allow them, give them the permission to let the layers go, and to show up as naked as possible to the world. Now, we happen to make people look really, really good naked. So that's a bonus. We have a system
right.
where you can look in the mirror every day. If you're somebody who has been tied to a scale, or you're somebody that's been tied to an image of yourself, you can look in the mirror every day, naked, no clothes, and tell yourself, I'm going to show up to the world how I feel in this body and look in this body right now, and start speaking a better, healthier language from your heart. Like Aaron said, and we haven't gotten bumper stickers or t-shirts, they'll be on their way. I love me some me. That's what that letter tells me. I love me some me. A lot of us have fallen out of love with ourselves. We've fallen out of love. We're having trouble receiving love from others because we can't receive it from ourselves. And so a simple thank you, or a simple, wow, you look amazing, that's a great smile, we shrug it off because we forget how to receive that. And it's in that receiving that will create the 2-lane traffic that we talk about. You're blocked up under construction. You haven't had traffic there. The weeds have overgrown the path because that channel of love isn't even open even one way. They're stopping both ways of traffic.
Right.
Getting back to that, like Aaron just did, he just gave us permission. The first sign of a leader is vulnerability. Showing up naked, standing in your truth, bathing in the gratitude that you have for your presence. And then telling people that I'm not doing this only for me, I'm in service. And I'm leaving breadcrumbs. Now, the breadcrumbs piece, Aaron, is huge, and we've always talked about leaving a path. But what happens is we leave that path, and people's appetite for what we're doing and the pace with which we're moving at, what we're finding is we've attracted people that aren't necessarily ready. And so what happens is their appetite is this big, and they take a breadcrumb, and they take another breadcrumb, and because we're not destroying the earth, and because we're creating these paths, there's going to be some overgrowth. And what happens, because their hunger isn't, we're not necessarily attracting the best fit person, and they're not necessarily as hungry as we are, the weeds may overgrow the path. They came to follow. They didn't come to lead. They didn't bring a machete with them. Maybe we didn't give them the right tool in the beginning and then teach them how to use it, so that as they follow us, they clear a path even bigger than the one we started. And what I'm really excited about is, now that we've got this intention, now that we've got this passion, we plugged back in, we got what we needed. Regardless, we got exactly what we needed.
Oh, yeah.
And now what I'm most excited about is we've learned some lessons, and the breadcrumbs that are there, what I'm most excited about is I'm excited for the person that has the same or even more hunger than we do, already knows how to use a machete better than we do, if not as good, and they're going to fly through the breadcrumbs and catch up to us, bringing their own breadcrumbs and a more efficient way to chop down trees and make a path. I'm looking for those people that stand on the shoulders, that are standing there with us, not simply behind us, waiting for us to act and them to follow. I'm looking for that next generation of leaders and attracting them, because I'm becoming a next generation leader, no longer addicted to the feeling of followers. That's a tough addiction to break, because it looks to the outside like you're successful. But what you're leaving in your wake, and the people that are there that aren't doing what you're doing or having the same success, that's not real. That's not productive. That's not success. All you've done is created a path for people to follow. And they're taking a nice leisurely walk, and then using you as their proof that for them to be successful. That's not what we're doing here. It's not. It really isn't.
Yeah.
So finding those that want to walk shoulder to shoulder with you and have the skill to do it, and they're not showing up to be a poser. They're not faking it. They're making it. I think that's important for me. That's what really excites me. That's what I'm looking most forward to, is becoming the next level and attracting the next level. So I'm talking forward to people that have already been there, rather than behind to people that can only dream of where they want to go. They don't even believe it's possible yet. I'm finding those people that are already there, and allowing what I have, my experience, adding my experience to them, and all the tools and resources while they do the same for me. And it's a collaboration. That's the
Yeah.
key. It's becoming even stronger. Not finding more people to live in the wake, because they're always going to be back there. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy for them or us. It tends to drag us down, actually. And we've been addicted to followers. We've been addicted to it. A lot of people are addicted to followers. We're not looking for imitators. We're looking for innovators. Massive, rapid change. And we're
Yeah.
addicted to that. I can tell you, if something shows up and there's massive, rapid change, we're like, yes, sign me up. I'm in. Let's go.
Right. Right. And you know, I think about those breadcrumbs, and now as you elaborate a little more, I also want to elaborate too on what you do leave behind, because there are going to be some things in life that you have to experience so that others can live through those.
Yes.
And if you leave anything behind, and this is for those who are also looking for innovation, looking for someone that's creative, someone that's tapped in and dialed into their imagination and they're willing to create their own path. One thing that you leave behind is hope. Because the thing that really drives home the message that I got from this event was the fact that we're all leading something. Sometimes we feel like we're leading ourselves. Sometimes we feel like we're leading others, right? Sometimes we don't feel like we're leading at all. But either way, there's something being done. And there's something that's going to become an outcome of that action or of that process that you just went through, whether it be a thought process, an idea, right? Some collaboration that you created something new with, or maybe just someone spotting you and saying, hey, listen, you know, I'm glad that I was here so that that heavy weight didn't crush your chest. I kept you safe, but you were able to still feel it. So if you leave anything behind, leave the hope that they're capable of it as well. Because here's the worst thing that could ever happen is that we go blindly leading something and then cover up our tracks.
Yeah.
See, when you think about that, a lot of times that's the way the world has been designed, right?
Yeah.
The world has been designed to say, listen, look at me, and I don't want you to know what I did, because therefore you may overcome what I did, and now no longer am I the
We'll do it
important
better.
one, or I'm not the winner, right? And you know what? Life, unfortunately, life is not based on winning or losing, right? It's growing and dying. Because
Yes.
think about it. As you're born, you start to grow. You're growing immediately. And it all ends when you die. Everything in between is just judged based upon the process, right? And so as you leave things behind on your journey, and you leave the hope and you leave the permission for others to go ahead and create their own, you may leave a note with that breadcrumb and say, hey, listen, I want you to pause for a second, have a little bite, because you're probably malnourished at the moment. We got great snacks, right? So I'm not leaving breadcrumbs. I'm leaving something that's going to nourish you for a moment. And then I'm going to leave you a note. And I'm going to say, listen, you've come this far and you see ahead now. And you've come across my snack for you so that you can think about what your next decision is going to be. Make this one intentional. Leave something behind in the message of the decision that you make right now, because someone will cross this path that wasn't built the way you were built coming upon this path.
Oh, yeah.
And see, when you leave that message and you start thinking about things, that's where I'm at right now. And as I was talking to people in Nashville and I was talking to our team and our amazing leaders that we've been attracting in our lives now and that have attracted us and we've attracted them, one of the biggest messages that I got was, what are you willing to fight for? What are you willing to get in the ring and go blow for blow for? Because here's the thing, when I think about a fight, the first thing that comes to mind is Buster Douglas, right?
Yep.
And Buster Douglas, before his mother passed, he told her that he was going to beat Mike Tyson. Now, Mike Tyson was unbeatable. Nobody could ever even think of beating Mike Tyson. The thought of beating Mike Tyson would incur a few painful shots to your head that quickly you realize that
It
you
was
weren't
like
going
the
to beat Mike
4 minute
Tyson.
mile. They're like, no, it's
Yeah,
not possible.
exactly. It wasn't possible. But the thing is that when you think of a fight, most likely it's something of an opponent. It's something that you are challenged with. It's not an easy walkthrough, right? It's not a trial here. This is like you're going for something, and it must be overcome, or else you're going to be leaving, having to go back to the drawing board and learn what you need to learn to pass the level. And so when I think about fighting, I'm thinking about what Buster Douglas must have been thinking when he first went down and he said, no, this can't happen, right? I got to get back up. I got to get back in that ring. I got to go ahead and fight my way through this because I made a promise. And that promise may be to you. That promise may be to a family member. I know when I went off to college, I promised.
They got to get used to the schedule again.
I know, I know. And you may have made a promise. And so when I went to college, I made a promise to my mom that I will not be back home. And as hurtful as it was, she said, okay. And there were times where I wanted to go back home, because it was too hard. It was too cold. But I was willing to make that fight. And there were tough games that I played in sports that I was licking my wounds and it hurt. The pain in my head or the pain in my leg or the pain in my joints, or the score, looking at the scoreboard and the pain of being far behind because we didn't execute properly. That pain, but willing to fight for it. Or maybe even in a relationship, a marriage, therefore, that gosh, I mean, they end so often. It's so sad, right? People give up on fighting for what they believed in with that relationship at first, and they forgot. So whatever it is in life right now that you're fighting for, remember that you are where you need to be because you've been designed to be there. Don't take regret and look at it as something as a victim. So you know what? I'm here where I'm at because I deserve this challenge. I deserve this resistance. You know what? And it's only going to get more as we embark on our journey. And so as you leave that message behind, leave the message of hope and letting them know that it's okay to fight. It's okay to fight for it. It's not up to me. It's not up to you. It's up to your destiny and what you want to leave behind. And so Keith, as we embark on this new journey, man, I'm so excited. I'm so encouraged and empowered, about everything that we've learned, even the new programs that we're starting to develop and being able to walk into, very successful programs that are looking to build culture, which now is the most important thing. People are not chasing paychecks anymore. They're looking for culture. They're looking for something they can run,
yeah,
for fertile soil, right? And so I love the fact that you've encouraged us to now elaborate a little bit on what we're leaving behind as we're walking through this and encouraging people to stop for a moment, think, and then make a decision on their own based on what it is that they want and what they're willing to fight for, knowing that we went first and we said, hey, listen, I was willing to fight. And the only reason we went first is because we knew each other, right? We decided to connect and figure out what each other are going for. So, Keith, I'm pumped, man. And there's a lot of stuff here I want to kind of go through real quick because people are texting and posting stuff. And Christine talks about, don't fake it until you make it, right? Be it. I think that's important. Amy talks about that's awesome. Christine says, don't feel like a leader. All right. She says she don't feel like a leader. She feels like a follower. However, she's ready to lead. Christine, that's a powerful, powerful statement there.
Vulnerability, first step.
Yeah, she's taking ownership there. And Amy talks about, yeah, same. And I think we all have been in that boat before. But again, look up and see what's next. And I guarantee you'll come up with the solution. And, Michelle talks about,
look, there's great mentors. There's great people leaving clues. Do what they do.
Yeah, and Michelle talks about what's the best thing that could happen. Yeah. And that was another powerful statement because a lot of times, how many times have we said, well, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, I don't do that. That's like it is what it is. That's right.
Exactly. Right. And, changing that phrase and changing the way that feels to what's the best that can happen is only going to bring great thoughts and really great actions, obviously, and great results. So, Christine talks about every day we grow and every day is a day closer to the day we die. We need to live in the between and flourish. And that's part of that gratitude. That's part of that understanding. And again, taking full responsibility for your life and saying, you know what, until it is the end, I'm going to be my best and I'm going to show up. And Christine says she's willing to fight for her and for us and for all of us and keep fighting and don't give up. And Nicholas talks about accountability is the word for him and what he's really excited about.
Yeah. And you know what? A lot of times, I'm glad you brought that up, Nick, as we bring this to a close. And because this week is good. I mean, this week, we don't have any idea what day it is. It's Thursday already. So we got one more broadcast. So we're going to fit in by tomorrow. Right?
There you go. Today and tomorrow. That's perfect.
Look, we're on something that a lot of people may not realize what we're on, but we're on something. And we're on to something. And we're bringing you guys along with us. That's the cool part. We've got you along with us for the ride. So, Nick, when you bring up the word accountability, I doubt that's what it is. Because there's no doubt there's hunger there. There's no doubt there's drive there. There's no doubt that you understand a system. There's no doubt that your belief in yourself and how worth it life is living. It's not accountability. It's the strategy you're applying to the system you've been given and the amount of structure you have. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's accountability is you overused a lot. It's not accountability. It's literally what strategy are you applying and how is it working and how could you make it better? What's the best that could happen? And now schedule it, and the accountability won't be a problem because you'll be worth it again. When you were asked to fight for life, you rose your hand and said, "I'm in. I'm going to fight for this life." Well, now you're being called to fight for lifestyle, and not just yours, but the lifestyle of others that you impact. So it's not accountability; it's value. When you decide that this life is worth living again, and it's worth living because the impact you'll have and the legacy that you'll leave, you'll make a schedule, you'll lock it in, and accountability, you're not there yet. You're not to the accountability part. A lot of people think it's accountability they need. No, it's value. You value yourself. You have done when it needs to be done. It's not accountability yet. I'll let you know when it's time for accountability. And it's not. You've got what you need. It's the strategy you're applying to what you have. Does that make sense, Aaron? I mean, we both know Nick.
Oh, that's,
we both know
you know what?
I've used accountability. I've used it in the wrong sense of the word as well. It's not. It's
Right.
value. And we'll let you know when it's accountability. You'll get a phone call. You'll get a phone call. You'll get a text, and you'll know, hey, this is an accountability call. You better pick it up. So for all those that chimed in today, Aaron, I love that you kicked it off. The fact that you were vulnerable, you were raw, you were real, that gives me goosebumps. An incredible level of leadership has just been achieved, and now it's going to be maintained and brought to another level. And we're attracting what you're seeking is seeking you. So for all those people that showed up today, we had a great group. The loves, the likes, the comments, that's the heartbeat, the breath of the broadcast, as you know. And for all of those that hundreds and thousands of people that will see this across the world, those suffering in silence that are ready to break out, allow this to be the permission you've been seeking. And we will see you tomorrow on In the Tank Live at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
Peace.